Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. I'm going to be doing the energy reading. I feel that if you were drawn here and you saw this message and you felt that you wanted to click on it, I feel that there is a message here for you. It could just be a single card, it could just be a small part of the video, or it could be the whole video. As always, take what resonates, leave what does not. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, the links are down below. Also, I have my beautiful Otter Spirit bracelets. There is a link down below for those also. All right, so let's get into the reading. Okay, so we had these pop out. These are my Psychic Tarot cards. We have the Six of Swords, moving on. I feel that maybe it's time for you to move on from a situation, or you're feeling this energy of you want to move on from a situation or a relationship. It looks like this person is holding a watch, a pocket watch. So I feel that that represents like time, and I feel that maybe you are ready to move on from something. Maybe you're questioning that, right? I feel like maybe you're ready to move on because you're ready to heal. And that you feel that maybe you're feeling like you've been stuck in a situation, or you've been kind of stuck in this energy where you feel like you're not really healing for yourself. We also have the Seven of Cups. For some reason, I'm feeling like with the choose wisely, that I feel that we have kind of the sun is here and we have green leaves, and then over here it's darker, and then we kind of have brown leaves that are behind the person. And I feel that with these green leaves and then this choosing wisely, that I feel that you're kind of in this challenge of you're doubting yourself for some reason. Like you feel that there's this direction that you want to go, or these changes that you want to make. And I feel that it's almost like you're at a crossroads and you're like, do I do this or do I not do it? It's like you're having this doubt within yourself. But I feel like with the green leaves, like moving on and moving forward, that this is something that is going to kind of, I feel spring, maybe it's springtime because of the green leaves, and like we're getting into spring here in the United States, and that maybe like you're ready to start some new adventures, or that you're ready to move on from, like you're ready to heal from a situation that maybe you've been holding on to something for a while, and you keep trying to find answers, or you keep replaying it in your head, and you're like, it's almost like you're self-sabotaging yourself by replaying a situation for yourself. Or maybe you're feeling guilt about moving on from something. And this choose wisely, I feel, is very important. Or the cards just want to come out here. And then we have the Six of Cups. We have memories of love. This may be what you're struggling with, is that maybe this is a situation or something that you keep thinking about all of the good times. Sometimes that's what happens, is that if we're trying to move on from a situation, is we start to romanticize the situation and we forget all of the hard things that we went through. Like if it was a toxic relationship, and that maybe like when you're in the relationship, it's something that is really hard for you and toxic for you, and there's maybe a lot of fighting or a lot of arguing or a lot of negativity. But then like there will be times where it's good. And then when we move away from that, it's like we just think about the good times, and then we go back to that situation where we're like, oh, now I know why I left that, because of all this heavy energy and this heavy weight that's around me in this situation. And then we move away from it, and then we get drawn back into it because we just think about the good things. So I feel that this may be something that you're struggling with, is that you keep thinking about, you're romanticizing a situation. And maybe this is why, like I feel that like with this choose wisely, like don't repeat the cycle, don't repeat the patterns. I know that for me, I've done that a couple of times in relationships where we'll be together and then it's very toxic and it feels very heavy and it feels very weighed down, and then it's like, okay, then we break up and then that person reaches out and then they draw you back in and then they change for a little bit and then it's like back to the same old thing. It's like you have to believe what that person shows you. You have to believe the situation and really see what that person is showing you or the situation is showing you, and not try and sugarcoat it and just hang on to the few scraps of the positive memories, right? And because you're only really hurting yourself. You're only hurting yourself if you keep going back to a situation that you don't feel fulfilled with and that you don't feel is something that is in your best interest. Let's see if there's any other cards that want to come out here, because definitely we had cards that came out in the beginning. Sometimes we have to be the stronger person and really know when it's time to break away and know when it's time to move on with this here. We have the 5 of Swords, conflict and defeat. I feel that this is kind of a cycle that you've kind of been in, and you feel that maybe you're feeling guilty about moving on from this situation. Maybe you're feeling like it's something that I just feel like it's going around in a circle. You are strong and you are powerful and you have the ability to move on from the situation and make those tough decisions. I feel like that's what you're doubting yourself about that. And sometimes it does feel safer to stick with, or it feels comfortable to stick with something that we already know, and that we're like, well, I already know how this person is going to be. I already know how they are, right? And then we're settling for that. We're saying, well, you know, this is all I deserve. This is the best it's going to get. This is what I keep choosing, and this is what I know, so this is what I'm going to stick with. You don't have to stick with that. You're strong. You're powerful. You can make these changes. Like, stand up for yourself and say, I don't want to tolerate this anymore. I don't want to deal with. I just feel like this choose wisely is the big card for here. Like this moving on and choosing wisely. Don't get stuck in old patterns. I feel like this is old patterns here, right? You're strong and you're powerful and you have the ability to set yourself free. This is something that you have to be in that mindset of, and you have to really, you know, it's like only like people can tell you things and people can say things and you can listen to all of these positive motivational things, but if you're not fully in the frame of mind to understand those or to be willing and ready to put the work in to make changes, you're just going to keep going back and repeating the cycle. So you have to be in the frame of mind that you're ready for change, right? That you're ready to choose differently. And then we have Bat Spirit. A rebirth is assured. I love it. A rebirth. And with that being right below the moving on, I feel that it's, oh, that's interesting. So we have a 6, a 7, a 6, a 5, and a 5. So we've got some repeating numbers here. So we have 2 6s and we have 2 5s. And 6s represent harmony, it represents family, it represents healing, it represents understanding. And I feel like it's understanding within yourself that if you're putting yourself in a situation that doesn't work for you, that's your choice. If you already know that a situation or a person behaves a certain way and you choose to ignore that and you choose to ignore those red flags and you choose to put yourself back in that situation, that, I mean, as hard as this may sound, it was your choice to go back to that person. It was your choice to, nobody makes you do anything, right? Nobody, this is just my opinion and what I feel is that sometimes we have to really take a harsh look at ourselves and say, if you're choosing to put yourself in situations that you don't feel comfortable with or that brings you this heavy energy, and you have to choose for yourself, you have to choose, like choosing differently. Because 5s means change and redirection, and it represents shifts and it represents stepping out of your comfort zone. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, is to step out of your comfort zone, which I was saying earlier, is because you already know how this difficult situation is going to be, and maybe you've tolerated it, and it's hard to make changes because you don't know what that feels like. And you don't know how things are going to go, and you don't, there's a lot of unknowns. But you know what, when you try that and you do that, then those become knowns, and those can be your new energy, right? That your new feeling of positivity, your new feeling of being able to move on, and with these green leaves here and spring and having this rebirth and choosing for yourself and saying that it's up to you to choose better for yourself. It's up to you to choose differently for yourself. And sometimes that's what we really have to realize, is that if you want change, you have to be change. I've always said that in my readings, is that if you want change, you have to be change, and you can only look within yourself. And you can't expect or wait for other people to do that for you. Like, you have to do it within yourself. And I feel that that's something that's very important and empowering when we realize that, right? It's about making those changes for yourself. Sometimes it's the littlest things. Maybe it's, turning off that TV at night and maybe listening to a motivational audiobook, or, reading a book at night, or maybe having some meditation. Because I feel like with this, there's a person that's sitting on the dock right here, and I feel like it's kind of taking that alone time for yourself and having that meditation and that quiet time to work on things for yourself. Maybe it's just about listening to some relaxing music. Maybe it's about doing a craft or doing a puzzle, or, doing something different. Change something up. When you start to change one little thing, then you get excited about it and your energy changes, and then you want to make more changes. Just like for me in the morning, before I would always, like, the first thing I would do is I would grab my phone and then I'd scroll through that, and then next thing you know, it's an hour later and I'm feeling heavy and I'm feeling groggy. And now what I do is I don't, if I have to I'll check my phone for messages, and then it's like I just get up and I start moving and I start going and I start my day, instead of feeling bogged down by, scrolling. And it makes me feel more motivated. And when I take time to focus on things that make me feel good, I feel more energized. Even if I've, had a busy day, like the day before, like I've had a long day, working as a cashier. And, before I used to feel so heavy and so groggy, and now it's just like I'm up at like 5 or 6 in the morning and I'm ready to go and I'm motivated, and it just feels so good and it feels so different. But we have to choose those within ourselves to change those things. And even the things that I have on my social media, when I do look, I have things that intrigue me. Like I just added, I'm following on Facebook a group that talks about the stars and the alignments of the planets, and like that was kind of something that popped up, and I'm like, well, that's kind of cool, like, and like having these things that kind of intrigue you, and instead of getting caught up in the drama or the crazy or the negativity, it's just like start choosing those things that kind of bring you happiness. Like I have one thing that I watch is like it's peonies. I love those flowers. Those are my favorite flowers. And I have a tulip one that I follow. And then there's Christmas ones and Halloween ones. And it just brings me happiness when I see those. And it's kind of changing up that social media, that if we feel we need to look at that, but we look at things that are motivation. I have motivational messages, and it's like those things that we can make, that we can change. Finding that peace within yourself and setting yourself free, that you have to do that for you. Don't expect other people to do that for you, right? You have to find that within yourself. We have the peace card, right? With the dove that is flying free and setting yourself free. Choosing wisely. What is going to bring you peace? What is going to bring you calmness? When you have this faith and belief that things are going to work out and things are going to be okay, and that you can get it through anything, and you feel that you can rely on yourself, and that you move on from things that don't serve you, that you're able to set those boundaries, that you don't keep self-sabotaging yourself and just thinking about the few scraps of positive memories of that draws you back into old habits, and you're able to have that rebirth. I love that, because we have rebirth and then we have this egg here. Right? So I feel like definitely there's a rebirth, that there's the ability for you to change. You're never too old, you're never too young, right? To make changes in your life. I'm almost 60 and I'm finally feeling like I'm like, this is the best part of my life. Like, I'm finally finding out who I am. I'm finally focusing on me. I'm finally looking for answers within myself instead of trying to always ask other people, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should say? You know, looking for other people, that I'm finding that strength within myself, right? And you're never too old for that. We have growth. We're never too old for personal growth. Definitely. I love that. That's when you're growing and you realize, okay, am I focusing on the wrong thing? Do I need to shift my focus? Do I need to change things, right? Have that personal growth within yourself. That if you want change, again, be changed. Do those things. Focus on the things that make you happy. Look at those things that you are subjecting yourself to. Are they things that are making you happy? Or are they things that are helping you to grow? Are they things that you're able to move on from, right? That don't serve you? No, we're not going to do it all in one day or 1 week or 1 month. It could take, months. It could take a year. It depends on how quickly we're ready to have those changes within our life. We have our Mystic Forest Oracle cards, and we have Stay True. The need for validation from others is an illusion. You are not responsible for how others perceive you, but it is your responsibility to stay true to yourself. That's exactly what I've been talking about, is staying true to yourself and truly finding what makes you happy. Not settling for things, maybe because they feel familiar or they've always been that way. Yeah, change can be scary, but change can also be very exciting because you never know what you're going to be bringing into your life. And when you start doing, the first step is always the hardest. The first step is always the hardest, and it's almost like, once we do that first step, it's like, oh, that wasn't as bad as what I was thinking, right? We're like, wow, why didn't I do that sooner? But you weren't ready to do that sooner, right? And then we have this card, it's you matter. You do matter. You are very important. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. You are strong. You are powerful, right? You matter. And tell yourself that. Tell yourself that over and over and over and over again before you fall asleep. The first thing that you do when you wake up, saying, I matter, you matter, right? Tell yourself those positive things. I do that all the time for myself, and it's really helped me change within myself and be stronger and be confident. Last night, like in the middle of the night, I had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and when I laid back down, I just was like, I was in like this hazy, right before you fall asleep. And I just kept telling myself that I'm so proud of myself, and I'm beautiful, and I'm strong, and I'm important, and I matter. And I was telling myself all of these positive things, and I just woke up like in such a good mood this morning. And before I got up, I was just like praising myself for being so strong and, staying motivated and, pushing through. And I just felt so energized this morning. And it just feels so good. So it's very important that you tell yourself and remind yourself that you matter, because you do matter, okay? You are important, and you need to make the choices that are best for you. And just like this card said, the need for validation from others is an illusion. You are not responsible for how others perceive you. People are going to perceive you however they're going to perceive you, and that's fine. When you're true to yourself, that's all that matters. When you're being you, it doesn't matter. Like with Mel Robbins, she just came out with that, let them, right? Let other people think what they want to think or do what they want to do. You don't have to control that. Like that's not your story. That's not your concern, right? Let them think whatever they want to think. Let them do whatever they want to, let that go. Set that free, right? What matters is what matters to yourself, right? What you matter, what makes you happy. And it's time for you to focus on that, right? It's time to move on, to bring in this peacefulness. The rebirth is assured, and choosing wisely for yourself. It doesn't mean that if you make a decision that's not the best for you, you can always change things, right? Things can always change. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this reading has helped you in some way, and you found a message that has worked here for you. And so I was just looking at the numbers again, because we had the 5 and the 5, and then we have 23, which is 5, and then we have 15, which is 6. So it's definitely about, healing, and it's embracing that change, right? Because that's what fives are, is about change, and it's about redirection. And I feel like with the moving on, like you're ready for that. Like, if you want change, be change. Because you matter. All right. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I wish you the best on your journey.